everyone and welcome back to my class. As you know that I am Ali Munisa, teacher and junior lecturer of Allahabad High School and Junior College. So in today's class we will continue our chapter, that is Theories of Consumer Behavior from Economics and chapter 2 of first year. Okay. Already in previous class we have discussed about the utility and types of utility and law of diminishing and marginal utility and the law of equimarginal utility and the analysis and the illustration of that laws and the assumptions of that laws. Now we will continue this class with the topic indifference curve analysis. So in the view of shortcomings of the utility analysis, and the modern economics have developed a new analysis called the indifference curve analysis. This analysis is also known as ordinal utility analysis. Okay, here the ordinal utility analysis of consumer behavior and uses indifference curve to analyze the consumer's behavior. It was first used by Francis Y. Edgeworth in 1881 and Irving Fisher in 1892 and Wilford Pareto in 1906 and A.L. Bolle. All these are it indifferences curve technique could not gain in the analysis of consumers' behavior till in the early 1930s. Okay, it was in 1939 that J.R. Hicks develops the ordinal utility theory as a powerful analytical tool of consumer analysis. Okay, get it now. So after this we will see the assumptions of indifference curve analysis. Okay, so here the assumptions of indifference curve analysis are that the consumer act rationally as to maximum satisfaction, exactly, and there are two goods, that is X and Y, and the consumer possesses the complete information about the prices of the goods in the market, exactly, and the prices of the two goods are given already, and then the consumer's taste, habits, preferences and income are constant here. Then the consumer prefers more of X to less of Y, or otherwise it will be vice versa. Okay, and here the goods are divisible and the consumer arranges the two goods in a scale of preferences, exactly, and that is the consumer has both the preference and indifference for the goods. Get it? Here both preference and indifference are transitive. Get it? So all these are the assumptions of indifference of curve analysis. Now we will see the indifference curves of concept, schedule and map also. So in indifferent curves there are concept, schedule and map. First we will go with the concept. Here concept based on consumers' scale of preferences, we can draw the indifferences curves, and in indifferent curves represent the satisfaction of consumer from the consumption of combination of two commodities. Get it? So according to indifference curve analysis, at all the possible points, that is combination of the two commodities and indifference curve, the total satisfaction here remains the same. So in indifference curve can be defined as the focus of points, each representing the different combination of two goods. Get it? Here the same utility or the level of the satisfaction that are a consumer in indifferent between any two combinations of goods, and when it comes to making a choice between them, it is also called as iso utility curve or equal utility curve. Get it? These are the concept of indifference curve. Now we will see the indifference schedule. in indifference schedule curve is drawn on the basis of an indifference schedule. Exactly, it may be defined as a schedule of various combination of two goods which yield the same level of satisfaction. Get it? So, see this table of indifference schedule. After seeing this table, this table shows the 5 combination of two goods that are X and Y which give the same utility, says as Z. Here the consumer satisfaction from first combination, that is first unit of X plus 15 units of Y, is the same as that of order combinations, that is second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay, here all the combinations yield the same level of satisfaction. Then the consumer is indifferent among these combinations. Get it? These are the schedules of indifference. Okay, now we will see the indifference curve. In indifference curve is based on the indifference schedule. Get it? Here we can draw an indifference curve. See this curve of derivation of indifference curve. Okay. Here the variation of indifference curve showing that the quality of good and the quantity of goods. Here the good X is measured on the OX axis and good Y is measured on OY axis. Get it? Here the consumer's utility at a point on the IC with the 1 unit of good X and 15 units of good Y is equal to the utility at a point B with 2 units of X and 11 units of Y. Get it? So, otherwise at a point of C with the 3X and 8Y and so on like this. So, here these combinations give the same level of satisfaction to the consumer by joining the point A, B, C, D, E, so on. So, here we get a indifference curve that is IC. So, here the utility at all the points on the curve is same and the consumer will be indifferent regarding the combinations. Exactly. So, after the schedule, now we will see the indifference map. Here in indifference map, we can draw the similar indifference curves of showing the combination of good X and good Y which represent the greater and lesser satisfaction. Get it? Two set of indifference curves is called an indifference map only. Okay, don't be confused here. In other words, an indifference map is the focus of a various indifference curves and representing the various level of satisfaction of the consumer. Okay, so see this indifference map that here all the points on IC3 and IC2 are preferred to all the points on IC1. In other words, the indifference curve, that is IC1, represents a lower level of satisfaction because of the less quantity of both the goods as compared with the indifference curves of IC2 and IC3. Getting? So, after all this, now we will see the marginal rate of substitution. In marginal rate of substitution, the concept of marginal rate of substitution is an important tool of indifference curve analysis. Okay, here the marginal rate of substitution show how much of one commodity is substituted by another. Get it? Here, taking the previous example of indifference schedule, what we have just discussed now, it is noticed that when the consumer has 15 units of Y and 1 unit of good X, he will be willing for forgo the 4Y for X1. Get it? So, the marginal rate of substitution, that is MRS, means marginal rate substitution of good X for good Y. Get it? Here ratio will be X for Y is 4:1 and for the third combination it is 3:1, and so on. Like this, the marginal rate of substitution will go. So here the MRSXY means the marginal rate of substitution of good X and good Y here diminishes. As the consumer goes on substituting of good Y for good, the consumer goes on substituting the good X for good Y. Okay, so here this is the essential for the level of substitution is to remain the same on an indifference curve. So the measurement of MRS, that is the marginal rate of substitution on IC, can be shown like this. See this. When the consumer moves from A to B on IC, he gives up as AS of Y and for SB of X. Getting? So after this MRS, now we will see the properties of indifference curves. Okay, here the properties in indifferent curves as like this. The basic properties of this: an indifference curve is negatively sloped towards down. Here in this property, it implies that when the amount of one good in combination is increased, then the amount of other good is reduced. So this is essential if the level of satisfaction is to remain the same on the indifferences curves. Here it is neither positively sloped towards up or nor horizontal or vertical slope. Get it? So the next property in this, that indifferent curves are follows convex to the origin. In this property, the convexity rules implies the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. So here the indifference curves cannot be concave to the origin. Exactly. After this property, the next property is that here indifference curves can never intersect each other. So in this property, if two IC curves intersect, it would imply that an indifference curve indicates two different levels of satisfaction. That is not proper to this. Get it? After this, the next property to this is a higher indifference curve represent higher level of satisfaction than a lower indifference curve. Get it? In this property, that an IC to the right represent more satisfaction, then this is because of the combinations of laying on a higher IC contain more of either one or both the goods. So similarly, an indifference curve to the reflect represent the less satisfaction here. Get it? All these are the properties of indifference curves. Now we will discuss about the budget line or price line. In this topic here, the budget line is essential to determine the consumer's equilibrium. Okay, as just we discussed now. Okay, the higher indifference curve shows a higher level of satisfaction than the lower one. Exactly. So that a consumer in his attempt of maximize his satisfaction will try to reach the highest possible, that is right IC. Okay, in indifference curve, but the particularly combination of the two goods on IC depends on two factors, that is money income of the consumer and next is the price of the two goods. Exactly, all these things and discussions all depend on these two factors, that is the money income of the consumer and the price of the two goods. Okay, this concept of price line or budget line can be clearly understood with this example. So see this table. The example is that just imagine and suppose that the consumer has rupees 100 as his income to buy two goods, that is X and Y. Here the price of X and Y are rupees 20 and rupees 10 respectively. Okay, just suppose. So this will be the table. See this table. So if the consumer spends his total amount of rupees 100 on good X only, then he gets the 5 units of X. That is point L, what we have just seen, and none of Y, exactly, because he is spending his all money on the X good only. So if he spends whole of his money on good Y only, then he will get the 10 units of goods Y. Get it? And none of the X, exactly. If you are spending all of your money on one good, then you will not get the other good. Get it? So here the budget equation of the consumer can be, so it can be written as like this: I is equal to Px into X and plus Py into Y. That is, whereas here the price Px is here the price of X good and the Py is the price of good Y. Get it? So here if the consumer spends his entire income of X on his purchases of Y is equal to 0. Therefore here I is equal to Px into X. If the consumer spends his entire income of X, then his purchase of Y is equals to 0, and then it will be presented as I is equal to Px into X, or it will be presented as X is equal to I divided by the Px, where the Px is equal to the price of X good. So then it is equal to 100 divided by 20. That means he will get the 5 units. It's clear. So similarly, if his purchases of X is equal to 0, means it will be reverse. In the place of X, we will write the Px Y. Okay. So similarly, if his purchases of X is equals to 0, then here the I represented and showing that I is equal to Py into Y. Here the Py is the price of good Y, or it will be represented as that Y is equal to I divided by Py. That means the here I means income. So here 100 divided by 10, then he will get the 10 units, exactly. So all these are the representations of the equation of the consumers. Get it? So here, but even the consumer wants to have both X and Y, then he will be on the price line at other than P and L points of this draw. Okay. A budget line shows all those combination of two goods which the consumer can buy with the given money or the income at their given prices. Exactly. See this derivation of price line. So here the given prices and the income of the consumer, if he wants to spend whole of his money income on Y, then he could get the OP units of Y, or I is divided by the PY, exactly. On the other side, if the consumer wants to spend all his income on the good X, then he could get the OL units of X, or it will be I divided by PX. Just now we have seen this, how they are representing that price lines. Okay, any point outside the given price like H will be beyond the consumer's capacity, and here the K shows the underspending by the consumer only. Here the P and L line in that figure is indicate, here the PL line figure that indicates the price line, and the slope of the budget line or the price line is equal to like this: OP divided by OL, or I divided by the P and then whole is divided by I divided by PX. Here I is income and PY means the price of Y good and PX means the price of X. Get it? Or otherwise it will be shown or written or described as I divided by PY then multiplied by the Px divided by I, that is at last equal to the Px divided by the Py. Get it? All these are the derivations of the price lines or budget line. After these derivations, now we will see the consumer's equilibrium. Consumer's equilibrium with the assumptions, conditions and illustration. Okay, so in this consumer's equilibrium, that having the explain indifferences curves and budget line. Just after that, all these explanations about all the laws and assumptions and the illustration, now you are in the position to understand how a consumer reaches the equilibrium position. So that a consumer is said to be in a equilibrium with the given his taste, price of the two goods, and the income on the purchases of two goods in such a way so as to get the maximum satisfaction. Exactly. So in this consumer's equilibrium, first we will go with the assumptions. What are they? We will see. Here the analysis of the consumer's equilibrium is based on these things, that are the consumer has an indifference map that showing his scale of preferences, which remains the same throughout the analysis. The money income is given and it is constant. After that, the price of the two goods are given and that is also constant here, and the consumer is rational and thus the maximize his satisfaction, and there is no change in taste, preferences and the habits of the consumer. So there is a perfect competition in the goods market. So all these are the assumptions of the consumer's equilibrium. Now we will see the conditions of equilibrium. In conditions of equilibrium, there are two conditions that must be satisfied for the consumer to be in equilibrium, and that are, first one, that at the point of equilibrium, the budget line or the price line must be tangent to the indifference curves, that its maximum point. Exactly. Then the second point is that at the point of equilibrium, the consumer's MRS of X and Y and the price ratio must be equal. That is, MRS XY is equal to PX divided by PY. Okay. Then these are the conditions of equilibrium. Now we will see the illustration of the consumer's equilibrium. Here, in order to explain how the consumer reaches the equilibrium, we have to bring together the two tools of IC analysis, what we have seen and discussed just before. So, namely the indifferences map and as well as the price line or budget line, so that the consumer has an indifferences map as we have seen. Okay, now for the better understand, just see these diagrams here. Here the price line faces the consumer's PL and in given certain amount of money, and he has to spend it on the two goods. Okay, here the diagram, the curves are showing the equilibrium of the consumer. Here the consumer will be in equilibrium at the point E, so that the consumer is in equilibrium with the OM of X and ON of Y. Here the price line touches or it's tangent to IC1 at its minimum point. Getting? So it implies that MRS XY is equals to PX divided by PY. So the second condition of equilibrium in this indifference curve, that is IC1, must be convex to the origin if the consumer chooses the combination of good X and good Y that is represented by S1. Here he will be on a lower indifferences curve IC and will be getting a less satisfaction than at E on IC1. Here the indifferences curve IC2 is beyond the capacity of the consumer with his given income. So it is outside of the price line, that is PL. Get it? So at last, add the superiority of the indifference curve analysis. After the behavior's equilibrium assumptions, conditions and illustration, now we will just see the superiority of the indifference curve analysis, and that is the assumptions of the ordinal measurement of utility is less restrictive and more realistic. Okay. And then the constant marginal utility of money is not assumed in IC analysis. Getting? Then the indifference curve analysis illustrate price effect, income effect and the substitution effect and more realistically. So this is the superiority of the indifference curve analysis. So by this we have completed our chapter, that is theories of consumer behavior. So through this topic we have understood that the consumer behavior is to explain the determination of consumers' equilibrium. The two famous approaches of the consumer's equilibrium, that are marginal utility analysis and the indifference curve analysis. Yes, then in marginal utility analysis framed with the parameters of two laws, and that is law of diminishing marginal utility and the law of equimarginal utility. Get it? So that the law of diminishing marginal utility states that when a consumer increases the consumption of commodity, where every successive unit of the commodity gives lesser and lesser satisfaction to the consumer. Get it? Means that is the marginal utility of the commodity, absolutely it will be decreased. Then the law of equimarginal utility states that the consumer will be in equilibrium when the marginal utilities of the various commodities are equal. Here the marginal utility analysis is based on the assumption that utility can be cardinal measured. Exactly, already we have discussed. That indifference curve analysis, which is an ordinal theory, shows the household's preferences between the alternative bundles of goods by means of indifference curves. As a single curve, join all these combinations of goods which give the equal satisfaction or utility, so that the consumer is in indifferent. Exactly, here the consumer reaches the equilibrium with the given money income and given market prices. Exactly, so that when he gets the highest attainable level of satisfaction. So by this we have completed and we have understood about the theories of consumer behavior. Thank you.